Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Right now, we have Robert Yang with us today, who is a keynote speaker and a boss of honor for GaymerX East this weekend. So thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time. I know you're probably very busy for being a keynote speaker, and I know that you just gave a panel earlier this morning. Do you want to kind of give us like a synopsis about that? Because some of us might have not been able to see it, or...
Oh, yeah, sure. So the talk was called Gay Physics. And I kind of just thought of the name first before what it would actually be about.
Okay.
But I started by talking about gay physics, and then I kind of just talked through my different games, where I talked about how the physics actually works in my games with like collision and video games and stuff. So I actually opened it up in my game engine level editor thing and actually showed like how it was all working a little bit.
Oh, that's fantastic, because it's sometimes so difficult to be able to find people who are willing to show their flow and their thought process when they create games, because sometimes it's either a very heavily guarded secret or they're very embarrassed by the way that they kind of hack things together.
Oh no, I gave away all my trade secrets.
Really? Okay, good. I'm glad. So just in general, what has brought you to coming to GaymerX East, and what really draws you to being here?
So this is in New York City, right? And like New York isn't exactly like a video game capital per se, right? So I'm really happy that events like GaymerX East are here to like really help, like, say the community is here, we're here, we're gamers too, we build all this stuff, we care about it too, and we care about all these issues too. So I think it's really great for like the community to like see each other here. We are here, right? We're not erased, we're visible, and everything is going good, hopefully.
So do you hope like within the next 5 years it will become a hub on the East Coast? How do you think that we need to start building that up more?
So I'm actually a professor of video games technically at the NYU Game Center.
Okay.
So that's definitely kind of like part of our plan. Like, we want more studios to come out. We want to help support students who want to get into video games. It won't necessarily be like a hub like Dallas or like Seattle, but maybe it'll be a different kind of hub, and we're trying to navigate and figure out that space.
Okay. So when you say like a different type of hub, what do you mean exactly by that? How do you see New York's position within the gaming industry develop from, obviously, since you are a professor and you are a game developer yourself and you do these keynote speaking events, you're heavily involved in all these different aspects of growing this community here in New York. So how do you think that, what would be the unique draw of like, yeah, I want to go to New York City because it does blank in the gaming community? What do you think, like, where are we going with that?
Well, New York doesn't really have a heavy AAA presence, right? There's Avalanche Studios here, and then there's like a random Rockstar office, I think maybe, but not really that many.
Right.
So we're kind of coming from the angle where we want to take advantage of all the other like industries that are also in New York City. So a lot of film production, a lot of VR and AR stuff going on here. So we're kind of hoping it won't be like AAA video game industry stuff, but it'll be the ways that video games kind of bleed into all these other fields and disciplines.
Great. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that idea a lot.
I like it too. I hope it sounds good.
Yeah. The big companies don't necessarily always have to be the ones that start these grassroots organizations. It's the people who come together and bring their different expertise and everything, and I like that idea because that just is such a New Yorker thing of, hey, I know how to do this, let me help you out. So just kind of backtracking a little bit and going back to like more personal history, how long have you been a game developer, and how long have you been passionate about games, or because you're a game developer you haven't been able to play games lately, or that kind of thing?
As a game developer now, I just play games kind of almost more for research a little bit. Like, it's almost kind of sad how like sometimes I'm like, okay, I better play this game so I know how these kinds of games operate, or so I know what kind of graphics they're doing in this game. I mean, this is the lament of a lot of game developers, right? They end up kind of, you've seen too much of the sausage getting made in the factory to like enjoy sausage completely like the way you did before.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a conundrum. Do you have any advice about how to try to get people out of that sort of devil circle? Have you been able to get it out of it yourself?
I mean, I think I'm just embracing the curse maybe at this point, but I think one way to get out of it is to seek out other creators than the usual suspects, right? Like I'm playing the new Assassin's Creed right now, and then it's like fun, but it's also kind of like what I'm expecting a little bit.
Sure.
So I actually go to like storefronts like itch.io where it's a lot more different creators who aren't like giant studios who like bring new voices to video games. And I think that's what kind of like excites me when I play a game that I'm not expecting. I have no idea what to expect.
Right. It's someone's passion project or just one little thing that they wanted to expand on. And it's, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The indie community is very... Oh, okay. So System Shock has a question for you. I'd be interested in hearing a professor's take on the should you go to school for this?
Okay. So should you go to video game school is a good question to ask. I think what we usually advise our students is we try not to be a specific kind of like trade school necessarily. We try at NYU Game Center, we try to approach game school as more of like an art school a little bit, as like a more like humanities kind of general approach to like life almost. Because the truth is a lot of our students will not work in the game industry because life will happen. They might decide games isn't their thing. They might decide that it's too hard. Another opportunity might come up that isn't a video game thing and they'll take it. So we try to come at it from like a more generalist angle and not be like, we will train you to fit into the AAA industry in this specific way.
Right.
So it'll depend very much on your goals, and you should carefully choose what kind of game school you want to go to, depending on your goals.
Okay. Do you have any advice about what different type of game schools there are? So like if you're someone who wants to get into programming or art, is it more beneficial to go to the NYU Game Center for specific things, or is it more of like a liberal arts, general Bachelor of Arts sort of experience?
Yeah, so at NYU we do a BFA of fine arts, so we're specifically trying to do that generalist kind of approach to it, because we want to just prepare you for whatever, right? You end up doing. But if you go to like other schools that are more specific, like I hear good things about SMU Guildhall or DigiPen is one of the most famous ones, right? Those I think are a lot more like industry focused, I feel like, which might help you get into the industry, but I think if you realize the industry isn't for you or you don't necessarily stick that landing, then it's kind of rough because you don't have a wider training in anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
And schools that are like us, I think the USC Interactive Media program there and the games program there is really great. And if you want more of like an academic side to things, I think ITU Copenhagen is like a really cool school too that focuses on theory and stuff too.
Okay. So what about people who might be full-time in a career and they're looking for a change, but they can't really wing going back to school even part-time? What kind of advice would you give them to start building up their portfolio of being a game developer?
I think, if you are in that position, I would say think carefully about what your goals are again. Like if you want to just learn a new skill, I would not spend $50,000 to go to when you can just get a book or watch a video or something, right? But if you want to like recalibrate your approach or voice as an artist, and you want to like talk with other people who will help you try to hone your voice, that's something a book cannot give you, right? That's something a YouTube tutorial cannot give you. So in that case, it might make sense to make that investment. But I'd say if you're like a mid-career kind of industry person who is thinking about going to school, yeah, think about what your new goals are, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So is there anything else that you kind of want to add based off of our conversation, just to let our audience know anything that we might have not hit on right now, or?
So I make a lot of realistic 3D gay sex video games. But if you come to NYU Game Center, you do not have to do that. In fact, I hope you don't, because then everyone blames me when students end up doing that. And I'm like, I didn't have anything to do with that. And then they're like, no, Robert. So, come to NYU Game Center. We have so many faculty. We have Bennett Foddy, the creator of QWOP. We have Frank Lance, if you've played a game recently called Universal Paperclips. It's like a really great clicker game. He made that, and he's the director of our program. So we have a lot of great faculty there, very diverse, many different approaches. You do not have to make gay pornography. If you do, I will help you. But if you don't, that's perfectly fine.
Will you still help?
I will still help, even if you're making a totally straight dad simulator. It's perfectly fine.
Okay. So if someone it's just not in their life plan to get a Bachelor of Fine Arts, is there an ability to audit classes, or is there talks or anything that people can do as well?
Yes, we do a lot of public events and outreach, free and open to the public. Next month, we're actually having Jane Ng. She was the lead environment artist on the game Firewatch.
Oh, great.
So she'll actually be coming in talking about her approach to game art and visual aesthetics in games. And now that's free, open to the public. Just go to our website and you can sign up. And
what is your website?
Oh, and our website, thank you. Our website is gamecenter.nyu.edu.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your weekend. I know that you're incredibly busy, so I appreciate you just waxing poetic on why you appreciate this industry and what you're doing to change it.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. Thank you.